A very good morning to you. It is another beautiful Monday morning, the first day into the month of February, and it's a Monday. Welcome to Motivation Monday. My name is James Okumu. So glad you took the time to be a part of this show today. This morning, as we begin a brand new month, we are going to be focusing on purpose. Purpose. You know, the purpose question is a question that a lot of people ask. And for some, they flow with it. For some, it's just a headache trying to figure out what my purpose is. You know, some people say we make too much of a hassle trying to understand what purpose is. Just live your life. Others will tell you when you connect with your purpose, life has a lot more meaning. I was thinking about this, and I was thinking about when we were young, when we were kids growing up. You know, we had dreams of things we wanted to become, aspirations. You know, I once had somebody doing a talk, and he was saying how, you know, the innocence of childhood is filled with so much faith, and many of us had connected with something, but then the realities of life killed our dreams, and we need to go back to that time when we were kids and figure out what were some of the things that excited us and what are some of the things that we dreamed about. And so I've been asking my radio audience what they wanted to become when they grew up. Think back to when you were a child. What dreams did you have? What did you want to become when you grew up? Interesting answers have been coming forth. This one is from Peter Aluko. Peter Aluko says, when I was a child, I wanted to be a teacher, but the reality today is that I am not. Where, Aluku, tell me what you are today. Jared Odhiambo says, that's a very interesting question. And you say, my dream was to become a doctor, but then again, that didn't happen. Well, what are you doing today? Caroline Auma, you say you wanted to be a judge or a lawyer, but it didn't happen. So what happened? You need to tell me what happened. Where are you at today? Vincent from Uthiru, you say your passion was and still is the camera. Unfortunately, you're miles away from that, but you're still sailing on. I love that. You haven't lost the dream. You're still pursuing that thing you feel you are connected to. So this morning, we're going to be having a conversation in line with purpose, looking at what this purpose Maneno is all about, why it's important, and how you can begin to connect and align your life and your goals with the purpose that you are created for. That's coming up shortly. I have an amazing guest who will take us through this conversation, and this is what she does for a living. She's a purpose coach, and she helps people to discover their purpose, so we'll be looking at that shortly. In the meantime, some music as we get along, and as we do so, I need to hear from you. 20316 SMS line, WhatsApp 0786 316 316. Think back to when you were a child. Oh my goodness. What did you want to become? For me, we had a neighbor. He was a pilot. The wife, air hostess. All the young men and the young women in the neighborhood, the boys wanted to be pilots, the ladies wanted to be air hostesses. Well, I guess I'm a pilot of sorts because I'm on air every day for 4 hours. I mean, I think, you know the way they say, aim for the sky, at least you can get to the clouds. I think I did get to the clouds. I'm not a pilot, but I'm on air every day. What about you? What did you want to become when you grew up? What are you doing currently? Is it the same thing, or did you fall into something totally different? 20316 SMS line, WhatsApp number 0786 316 316. Welcome to the month of February. It is the 1st of February, Motivation Monday. My name is James Okumu. So glad you took the time to join us today. We are talking about purpose, in line with purpose. Are you living a life in line with your purpose? And I'm taking you back to your childhood, and I'm asking you the question, when you were a child, what did you want to become when you grew up? This one is very interesting. This one is coming in from Steve. Steve says, I wanted to be a pastor. Currently, I'm a policeman. Okay. That sounds good. This one from Dave says, I wanted to be a pilot. I ended up joining the Air Force, and currently I'm an aircraft technician. At least you're in the neighborhood, my friend. That's a good one right there. I also have Carol, who says she wanted to be an accountant, and that's exactly what she ended up becoming, and she loves every minute of it. You, Carol, you are those students who, you know, you know those students who, you know, they are all over the place you're all over the place with them, but them, they know what they are doing, and exams come and they are number one, and you're thinking, but we were playing soccer with you, you know, but we played truant with you. What happened? Yeah, Caro, good for you. It's good that you're doing what you love, and we appreciate that. Keep your SMSs coming through, and also inviting your questions as we get into this discussion all about purpose and living a life in line with your purpose. This morning, I have purpose coach and founder of Wired Global. This is Wanjugu Gishuru. Wanjugu, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm very fine. Karibu sana and welcome to February.
Asante. Thank God.
Yes, January has
January
gone.
imeisha.
180 days have come to an
Yes.
end. So purpose. Let's kick into this discussion. When we talk about purpose, what are we talking about? There's so much discussions about purpose. Sometimes it is so frustrating. So when we talk about purpose, ni nini kitu inaitwa purpose?
Purpose. The definition of purpose is basically the reason you exist, the ultimate original existence of someone or something. So, for example, the reason why a shoe exists is because of to protect your feet from being cut and bruised. That's simple.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just so all of us have a reason why we're existing. Yes, that's it. That's the reason. That's what purpose is.
Knowing why you exist.
Yes, knowing why you exist. And I see why it is a tall order, because that is a huge thing, yeah?
Yes.
It's like trying to figure out your entire existence. Why am I here? So I think even just thinking about it can really cause anxiety in your life, and a lot of, wondering, can I really crack it? Is it even really possible for me to know why I exist?
Yes.
It is very possible. It is very natural. Just like if you look at a shoe, even the way it's created, even the design, everything about it, it's so that it can actually protect the feet from being cut and bruised. That's the same thing. How you are, how you're designed, how you function is all within your purpose. Okay. So it's actually not supposed to be that hard. It's quite easy. Yeah, it's quite easy.
I'm thinking I will have to visit you soon, because there's a chicken in the background and that chicken needs to fulfill its purpose. So we need to get together at your place and have some lunch.
Oh my goodness, I know. They are doing what they were created to do. Every other hour, they literally have to set the alarm.
They are late.
Yeah.
They are late. We are already awake. Back to our discussion. We have a pattern. We have all agreed on the pattern of life, where you go to school, you get an education, you get good grades, you get a good job, you buy a 4-wheel drive and a 3-bedroom house, and you get a good wife and you get 3 kids, and life is good. And that seems to be what a lot of people are chasing. So when we come up with something else and say there's a purpose, but what about this one that we have been told all along? What am I supposed to do with this other one?
It's so sad, because we are wired, or rather the society has created us to do things, and to accomplish and get things instead of why, so we actually taught, we go to school, we are taught to be something, to attain something, but we are never taught to find our why. And so you'll find that someone is chasing all these things, and they end up actually having that. They end up having the house, the car, the 5-acre plot somewhere, the children, the wife, and then they're still feeling empty. They're still feeling there's this big hole, and they're wondering, so what is it? It's just because you are chasing success per the expectations of society.
Yeah.
You didn't stop and ask yourself, what do I really want? What motivates me? Let me give another example. If you look at people who, you're always looking for the next job that's giving you the next pay.
Yes.
If you ask them why, they'll tell you, I want the money.
Yeah.
But that's not it.
What do you
it's
mean?
It's not the money that you want.
What do you mean it's not the money?
There is a motivation driving you to get the money. It could be you want freedom. You just want freedom, or you want to retire early, or you want to create a better future for your children. That's the motivation for you getting the money and getting up every day. No one gets up in the morning because of money. There is something that is driving you to get that money. And so the reason why that's the why. There's a why behind it. So most of us can identify the what, because it's the money we want.
Yes.
We can probably identify the how, like how to get the money. But what we really have a problem identifying is the why. And this is because the why is situated at your core. Yani iko uko ndani kabisa. It's really what people say. I had this gut feeling, and for us as Christians, we know it is actually your spirit man.
Yeah. Okay, back to the whole money question, because a lot of people today, when you talk to them, and your camera has gone off, a lot of people today, when you talk to them, they're always looking for a better job. Let me talk about Christians, because I interact a lot with Christians on this program. Even the prayer requests that come, it's always for a better paying job. It's always for a bigger opportunity. Why? Because I need more money. And usually it's, I need more money to meet my needs. I want a better house for my kids. I want to take my kids to a private school. It wouldn't be bad if I was able to drive a car, wear some nice clothes, because that's what we see everywhere. So how can you say it's not about the money? Because for many of us, that's why we chase after the money. Because I want a big house, and I want a good house for my children. I want to drive a nice car. I want my children to go to a group of schools, not to go to school in groups, if you catch my drift. So that's what drives many of us. Why are you telling us that's not it?
Yes. No, you've actually said it. You said you want the money because you want your children to go to a group of schools, not just any school. So that's the why. It's also really the money. It's the why. You want your children to have a better future.
Okay.
That is why you spend hours and hours in a job you don't like, because you want the money, because you want your children to have that better future. So for us, we think it's about the what. The what is just a snippet. Even the how is a snippet. There's something deeper that you need to find out. Your why, and that is, it's a place that it's actually God given. It is really at your core. All of us have very specific values. Okay. There's something that is important to me that might not be necessarily important to you. There's something that for me just drives me. I mean, when I think about it, I just get up. So the issue is finding out what is that why. What is that gets you up every morning? And even going beyond that is just spending time with God and asking him, why do I exist? Because I said this about purpose. Purpose is so natural to you. It is so natural. It is how you are designed to do. You can't be anything else other than what you are designed to do. So maybe it is just how you are going about it. You've not identified it. And that's why for me, what I usually say is I don't even tell people, come and find your purpose. Or I tell them, come and clarify your purpose. It is about clarity. It's not about somewhere I'm going to find it. It's already within you. It is actually your core person. We are just trying to unravel who that is so that you can have that aha moment. And when you have the aha moment, you can define it, because that's the other issue. You're telling it, you'll hear someone say, I have this feeling. It's like I really know, but I don't know. I don't know how to say it. I don't know how to describe it. So that's the issue. The issue is because it is so inside you. It's about who you really are. It's at the core of you. It is very hard to explain. So you see, most people, if you ask them what their purpose is, they tell you their title or their job. I'm a doctor. Like the lady who said, I'm an accountant.
Yes.
That's amazing, but there's something that she does in the accounting that drives her. Maybe it's about solving problems. Like she just loves solving problems. And for her, when she's an accountant, she does that every day and she's just getting it and she's fulfilled, So it's all about finding that why. That is it. It's finding the why. And when you find the why, then you will you will be able to, everything in your life will have meaning.
Okay.
Everything, even the mundane tasks will have meaning. Even if you're making a call, even if you're a receptionist, whatever it is that you'll be doing will now have meaning. It won't just be you're a receptionist, you're making calls. For you, maybe it is you are inspiring hope, because you want to make a difference. And so that call you make, that. And so there's a difference, and that's where you'll get the fulfillment and motivation.
Okay. There's something you said back there that I want to take you back to. You said it is so natural. It is so on the inside of you. It is at the core of you. And sometimes that is why it is hard to explain it and to define it. And for me, that is such an oxymoron. I've always wanted to use that word in a sentence. Today I get the opportunity. It is such an oxymoron because it is so easy, it is so hard, and I'm wondering, why is it that way? Why isn't it just in black and white that we can connect to it, and just move on with our lives and fulfill our purpose?
Wow, that's an interesting question.
Yes.
I think it's just too important to be obvious.
Oh.
Like, and then it's also because of how the society is structured and wired. I really don't think it's God made it like that.
Yes.
God was not trying to keep our purpose away from us when he created us. I mean, when you think about Genesis, when he created man, God told him what he was supposed to do. Like, it was very outright. He's like, and he even described it in the word of God. Let us make man in our own image. God is purposeful, and he created purposeful beings. Before he even created man, he had given a man a purpose. It's like, let us make man in our own image. That's our identity, in our likeness, so that he can have dominion. Very clear. This man is to have dominion. Then he goes ahead and creates us. And so everything God does, he creates with a purpose. There is a purpose in mind, and then he goes on and creates it. And so that's how we are as well. And we are created to be fruitful. We are always producing something. That's why we are most fulfilled when we are working and creating.
Okay.
And then we are also created to be multipliers, to multiply, to have more. That's why people are always searching for more. How can I increase this? How can I grow this? And then we're also created to dominate, to rule, to rule over domain. That is how we are wired. So that is our general purpose as human beings. But of course, all of us have a specific individual purpose.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So the thing is, in the world, how the world has created us is for us to look at the what, the what in terms of that we have a fruit, we have a mango tree. It's not about why do we have a mango tree. It's about, this is the mango tree. Do you want it? This is the, if you ask someone what they do, I do printing.
Yes.
I give you, I do graphic. It's a what? He doesn't really know why. He knows that he loves doing the printing, but he doesn't know why he's doing the printing and the graphic.
Okay.
And because the world is always about the what. The world is always telling you, get this career, go to school, get this money. So we're always being told to get the what, and maybe a bit of the how. Like we are told, what are your skills and what is specific to you. So we start learning. Okay, so even the how has to be unique. Or maybe it's the way I teach. So I can teach to get the what, or I can do this to get the what. But no one talks about the why. And I really believe because it is something that is almost, it's not visible.
Yeah, very
true. The why
very
is not
true.
visible.
Very true.
Yeah, the what you can see, the how you can see someone doing something, but the why is so hidden deep within. And so because of us as humans, we are always drawn to what we can see and not what we can't see. And so, and what you can't see really has to do with something deeper, and that is God. It has to do something deeper. Yes. And I believe that's why it's hard.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll talk a little bit more about the why and how to discover the why. But as you're speaking, I was just thinking, whoever came up with careers is the one who messed us up, because we have careers that have a price tag attached to it, and everybody wants to be, in that career that has the highest price tag. You want to be a doctor, you want to be a pilot, you want to be an engineer. No one wants to make shoes anymore. No one wants to be a plumber anymore, because the price tag on that job, everybody wants to be the high and mighty. And I think that's what's messed us up. Questions are welcome this morning. In line with purpose is what we're talking about. 20316 SMS line. WhatsApp 0786316316. If you have no idea what your purpose is, if you can't answer the why question, ask your questions today so that our guest can guide you on how to get clarity on what your why is all about. In line with purpose, that's what we're talking about. Purpose coach and founder of Wired Global, Wanjugu Kushuru, is with us in studio via Zoom, giving us answers and helping us to gain a deeper understanding of what it means to be in line with purpose. And I have very interesting SMSs coming in today. People telling me what they wanted to become when they grew up, looking back to when you were a child. My good friend Timothy Wauba, always a blessing to hear from you. You say you wanted to be a mechanical engineer, and you actually became one and did that for 5 years, but you fell in love with the steering wheel. You love driving, and that's what you love the most, and that's what you're doing. Good for you, my friend. And you say luckily your boy is loving the mechanical thing as well. We thank you for that comment. I have another one here. You say when you were younger you wanted to be an air hostess. Haiti kakata, you are not tall enough. Oh my goodness. Now you are in the accounting world. And then I have Steve from Gilgil. You say you wanted to be a policeman, but by God's grace, you're now an electrician and you really love what you do. Good for you, my friend. I have a question here. This one is asking, is it possible to discover your purpose because of a definitive event in your life that changed and redirected you? For example, you grew up poor, and so you have vowed to play your role in ending poverty in society. What do you think about that, Wanjugo?
I think it is definitely possible. Definitely possible. Because our story and what we experience every day shapes us, shapes us and shapes our motivation. Yeah, it shapes our motivation, or rather reveals our motivation. When you go through something, and then we really find out, like, wait, I really don't want this, and I don't want this for someone else.
Yeah.
So yes, sometimes experiences are actually the process of that why coming out. And yeah.
Okay.
It's very possible.
I'm just wondering, does your purpose change over time, or does it stay the same throughout your lifetime, rather?
Purpose doesn't change, but it is expressed in many forms.
Okay.
Yeah.
Example.
Because you see, when we're talking about purpose, especially in the context of God, God didn't, when He created us, He didn't change His mind.
Yeah.
I could change mind yake, but it is expressed differently in various forms. When I say that, I mean different assignments.
Yeah.
Even the process of it coming out. For example, in one season, you can be in a different profession, maybe doing certain things. And in one season, some gifts are more obvious and some gifts are more, you're in touch with more gifts than others, or a skill better than another skill. So you find maybe you're teaching at a season very much, but in another season, maybe you're doing more of administration.
Yeah.
But it's not to say that your purpose has changed. It's just how you're expressing it has changed. Yeah. So, for example, if you have a purpose to inspire hope, so that, like the lady I work with, and her purpose is to inspire hope in people so that they can rebuild their families. Now, so in one season she was doing that when she was working for someone, and now she's having her own practice. She's a coach, so she's able to do it even more, and she's doing it through programs, through coaching. So you see that if maybe someone will have told her, "Ay, kwani purpose yako ili change?" Because this time you are doing this and you seemed to love it, but now you're doing something else. It seems that career has changed. And that's why I tell people, don't be afraid of career change.
Yes.
That's just a vehicle of you expressing your purpose. Yeah. Don't be so tied to a career or a job and say, oh, now you see this is a job. No. Just find out. And you know what? Sometimes I even tell people, if you're doing the same thing, I hope it's there's growth, because we're supposed to be growing.
Very true.
And progressing.
You said that word vehicle. You reminded me of a statement a friend of mine likes saying. A friend of mine keeps telling me, don't fall in love with the vehicle. Always remember the why. And he keeps telling me the problem with a lot of us is we are so in love with the vehicle. Oh my goodness, the job, the corner office, the title that comes with it, the perks that come with it. So much so that when we lose the job, we get stranded because we lost focus of why. Do you agree with that philosophy?
I agree completely. And I think it's one of the reasons why God shakes us up.
Okay.
Because when you focus on the what, we will limit our lives. We will limit our lives. And God is like, you cannot be stuck on what. And even if you look at people in the Bible, everyone who had purpose, even when they figured out, this is what I want to do, this is where I'm going to stay. God is like, Abraham, get up, we are going somewhere else. There's always something better, always more and greater, because the what is limiting, the why is what is always bigger. And that's another way you can really know you're in your purpose. It's bigger than you. It's greater. It's not something you can figure out in one day and say, this is it, I can do it. No, it's always pushing you beyond your limits and your comfort zone. Just when you think that you're really good at something, God is stretching you and you realize, oh, I can actually do something more than this. And so that is something. And then the other thing is, because if you just focus on the what, you will lose motivation. You lose motivation.
Yes.
You will just, it's always going to be about the what, and that is too limiting. But when you figure out your why, you will always have something to look forward to. There's always going to be a drive and a passion. Yes.
There's something you said there. I want to take you back to it because it triggered a thought. You said your purpose is always bigger than you, and I've had this said before in relation to purpose, that my purpose is never about me. It's always about others. And many of us miss it because we are always thinking about ourselves as opposed to thinking about others. Is there a truth in that statement?
Yes, there is a big truth.
Okay.
A big truth. How we were created, as if we go back to Genesis and we see those things: fruitful, multiply, have dominion. It has to do with impact. It has to do, like, why are we going to have a lot of fruits? Why are we multiplying? I'm sure it's for other people. It's not for yourself. It's going to be so much. You can't have it. It's other people who need it. That's why you are multiplying. That's why you're producing something for someone else to receive it. You think about a tree. It's giving us fruits. The tree doesn't eat fruits.
Yeah. Yeah.
It doesn't even. But it's us who need the fruits. So it is so important for you to realize that. And you know what? We were designed like that. We actually have fulfillment when we impact someone else. We have fulfillment when someone else receives something that we've given them.
Okay.
That is how we are wired. Yeah, and even people have figured it out. They say, oh, try and do something for someone. You will feel so much better.
Very true.
It's because that is how we are wired. So your purpose is about your contribution. And a bit of that is about your identity, and it's also about the impact your contribution will make. So it's those two things: your contribution, which is more of your value, and the impact that will come because of your contribution.
Okay.
So, for example, you inspire hope so that this can happen. Is it so that the world can change, or so there's always an impact attached? If your purpose is just for yourself and say, oh, I just want to, no, that's not purpose.
My 4-wheel drive and my 3-bedroom house. I once had a statement from the late Miles Monroe, and he talked about, he asked a question, and he said, this is a question that can help you to begin to trigger the purpose, to find an answer to the purpose question. And he asked the question, what problem are you on earth to solve? I don't know if you've had that before, and what you can tell us concerning that question and why that question is important.
Yes. What problem you are created to solve actually is your mission. It's your mission. It rounds us up as your mission.
Okay.
And it actually talks about why. Because you see, most times, if I ask someone, what is it that you want to do? Then you'll hear someone say, oh, I want to reach girls who are pregnant. I really don't like the way girls are pregnant and they can't go to school. And I'm like, okay, that sounds like a good problem, but there's a deeper problem that you're actually solving. That is the girls and the situation they're in is because you can actually identify how it looks like. That is more of an outcome of the main problem. So maybe for you is you just want people to be the best versions of themselves, and you're so scared. You're wondering, these girls, because they are pregnant now, they want to go to school and they may not be the best versions of themselves. So that is actually the problem. The problem is you don't like seeing people not being the best versions of themselves. And so it's just like you just want them to. And so there's a problem that we're created to solve, but it's not as obvious as you might think. There is, you really have to keep asking, why do I want to do this? Why? Always ask, why do I do what I do? Why am I doing what I do? That is how it's going to help you.
Okay.
So for the people who sent in their answers and they say they love doing this, or they love doing this, it will be interesting for you to ask yourself, why do you love doing it?
We always coming back to the why question, eh? You always have to ask yourself, why? Yeah. Could it also be, Wanjugu, that many of us have issues with this question? Because when I think about our education system and how we are cultured and how we grow up, we are raised up to get a job. To get a job. We are never taught to solve problems. And I keep thinking that's why even as a country, our manufacturing sector is Kidogo sana, we don't come up with new stuff. We are always importing from other countries. And sometimes even what we have to take to other countries for them to process it, and then they sell it back to us at exorbitant prices and we still buy it. So could that be an issue, that we are never really taught from an early age to see problems and to come up with solutions? We see problems and we are saying Serikali's idea, hey, our friend from China, can you come and build a road for us? I mean, let me not even go in that direction. Talk to us.
You said it. You have nailed it. Yeah, you've nailed the head. Is it there on the head?
Yes, hit the nail on the head. Yes.
Because, even when you think about, like we mentioned, China.
Yeah.
What do? They start from, they start with kids, very young kids.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes we might even tell ourselves, Kwani kids know what they want. They do.
Yes.
Because when the why is so deep-seated, your why is in your spirit. When people will call at your deep gut or your conscience, you always have a sense of what you want. It was there, it was God-given. And then you grow up and you're told, no, that can't work. You can't go and be a musician. You won't pay for your bills. No, go and do this.
Yes.
So you're told, no. So that feeling, you're feeling like doing something is put down, paka, you're just programmed in a certain way. And the thing about innovation, innovation stems from purpose.
Yeah.
That's why we're not innovating beings. We are just being, wired and brainwashed to want jobs and collar jobs. And that's why we get frustrated. We get out and then there are no jobs.
Yes.
And now we are blaming the government. So the thing is, it's true. I really believe, I hope that the education system can get to a place whereby you are now digging deeper and you're helping these kids. You're getting a process where you're helping these kids identify their why. Because the education system is supposed to be the process to identify your why. It's not supposed to be helping you get what.
Yes.
You're supposed to go to school and then you figure out. Like for me, it was in school that I figured out that I enjoy helping people be the best of themselves. So it was me doing things and then I'm like, oh, I like doing that. I'm good at that. So I identify a passion. And then I identify a gift or a skill. So if there was someone there to actually be like, hey, nice. The teacher is like, no, that's passion. Let us put you in a space where you can experience it more. This is your gift. Let's develop that more. And so that is the essence of education. But it's sad that the system we have now doesn't really do that.
Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Wow.
Do that.
Okay. Shortly, we'll talk about how do I begin this journey, because it's there. The why. How do I begin to answer this why question? What are some things I can do to begin to get clarity about my purpose and which direction I should go? And I was just thinking in that conversation that what you were saying earlier, it's very interesting. We have become like what you said, brainwashed. We are like people on what do you call it? Conveyor belt. Just going through the motions and living life. Because it's very interesting, if you take a group of people together, let's say 10 people, 7 people, you put them in a room and you give them a problem. Let's say corruption. How can we end corruption in Kenya? That is what I want you to think about the whole day. Come up with a plan. Let me tell you, imagine they will come up with a plan. They will come up with a plan. They will think through, and they will come up with a plan. But we never do that, because we are not taught to do that. I read the story of a gentleman who always wanted to be a doctor, but things didn't work out for him, got into a career he didn't really love, but he just worked on it. He retired. He retired at 55. And he decided, you know what? I always wanted to be a doctor, and I am going to be a doctor. And he went back to school. Akachapa miaka nane, graduated at 63, 64 there, and guess what? He became a doctor. So God's not done with you yet. Stay encouraged. It is still possible. I have other messages coming in on social media, on our Facebook page. Nashami, how are you doing today? You say for you always wanted to be a lawyer. Joski, you say you wanted to be a radio presenter like me. My friend, the dream is still alive. Keep working at it. It's very, very possible. So back to our guest today. Today we're hanging out with purpose coach and founder of Wired Global, Wanjuku Gishuru, and let's get into the nitty-gritty. So where do I begin? In case I don't know which direction to go, and I'm really interested in this conversation and I want to connect with my why, nitaanzia wapi?
Yeah. Wow. Those are interesting statements for the ones who've just shared. It's so interesting. Finding out your why will first of all give you fulfillment in life. You will feel that you are living.
Yes.
You're truly living, and you're making your contribution, and you're making an impact, that you're making a mark. And I believe when you're living in your purpose, that's when you're most productive. Whatever it is, you will be most productive. You will be very influential. And so it is definitely a conversation you need to take seriously. So I like that the people who are asking, they want to know. So there are a few things that you can start, right now. I know it's usually a journey. It takes a lot of reflection. Let me put that disclaimer. And that's why people don't like doing it. It takes reflection. You sit down, you start asking God, you start asking within yourself. And this is I'll give this tip in terms of shape. And I think this is not a new word. If you've read the book by Rick Warren, he brings out the tool shape as well. But I want to use it differently today. We are shaped for purpose. I'd say that we are designed for our purpose. Everything about us, in our core, even how we are and how we act, was created for our purpose.
Yes.
So it could be a tool that will direct you to purpose. Let me talk about what shape is. S are your spiritual gifts. Now, these are gifts that will be received or activated if you're a Christian, because it's the Holy Spirit who gives you these gifts. And these gifts are powerful because they give you power to do what God has called you to do.
Yeah.
But then there's also the H. The H is your heart. And when I say your heart, I mean your motivation. The question we're asking, why do you do the things that you do? Why? Like, why are you so psyched up to get up and just go and hustle? And why? Start writing a lot of sentences around that. Maybe you could start by saying, I want freedom. I want to retire by this time.
Yes. Or
I value convenience. Or I value. So your why will actually be your core values. Your core values will come out very clearly. You'll find out that you really hate corruption, or you admire integrity, or for you fairness and justice is very important.
Yes.
So because you want you want fairness and justice, you will get up and do it. Especially for the ones who want to be policemen, that will be a very big thing. They want to bring justice and fairness. And so for them, this profession is the best in terms of, you doing that. And so find out what's your motivation. Ask yourself. And the good thing about having a lot of experience, how many years, you have a lot of experience and things to use. You have a lot to use to reflect on. And then the A is for abilities. I mean natural abilities, natural talents, things that you're good at. Let me put a disclaimer here. Things that you're good at. When I say good at, I mean above average.
Okay.
As in, it's more than number 5. Out from 1 to 10, you are very good. It's above average. If you just do it naturally, uja try sana, it's a 6. And if you try a lot, you will be a 10 or even a 9. And how you know this is by the results. People have shown you can see that you did something and the results were excellent.
Yeah.
So people are like, wow. So write down a list. Now, this is what I want you to do. When you write a list of what you are good at, I want you to ask yourself in that list if you enjoy doing it.
That's because important. Because I was going to ask you. I was going to ask you, because sometimes I find you have people who are good at something they don't like doing.
Yes. Yes. Okay. You can be good at like my mom.
Yeah.
She's very good with numbers, but it wasn't like the big thing. So you're good at numbers and you become an accountant and then you don't like it.
Yes.
So you can't base your entire life on what you're just good at.
Okay.
It has to be attached to whether you enjoy it.
Okay.
Now, if you find a similarity between what you're good at and what you enjoy doing, that's your passion. That's called passion. Yeah. Passion is an equivalent of what you're good at and what you enjoy.
Okay.
So I want you to compare those, look at that list and, see what is standing out that you enjoy. When you do it, you are like, whoa, I really love this.
Yeah.
And then the other thing to look at is your personality. And most people don't look at their personality. They think it's something very psychological.
Yes.
And a waste timer. Like, why should I know? It is very important. Your personality is actually how you think and how you feel, but mostly how you think, how you process. We think very differently, differently. we see things very differently, and God wired us like that. And it's actually really important for you to find out. And you can do various personality tests, and you can figure out, this is the way I like doing, this is how I like doing. For example, what I do a lot of speaking and coaching, is because I am actually an extrovert. I love talking. I enjoy people. You can imagine if I was not wired like that, I would be miserable doing what I do. But even in my personality is wired for what I do. And then the other thing is your experience. So that's the last letter in the word shape. And when I say your experience, I mean your personal journey. There's someone who shared about a traumatic experience that helps them discover why. So your experience, what you do is, I want you to sit down and invite the Holy Spirit, and start thinking about your life since when you were young all the way. And I want you to look at stories that are standing out. Write down stories that are standing out. I will say gather stories that stand out for you. Maybe there could be moments when you're a child, moments when you are doing something and this stood out for you. After you record them, I want you to identify themes in those stories. I say themes because, there are some things that were standing out very clearly. For example, if you are gifted to be a leader, you motivate people to, towards reaching a goal. And you could look at different stories in your life and you realize that the themes were, there was always leadership. You are always championing something. You are always involved in something. And you're like, oh, wow. So that is a theme. That's a theme. So identify themes. And so that is your shape. And then I want you to go to another step where, can you define it? Can you define what you just found out? Can you define it in a sentence that kind of answers why? And the sentence could be simple. You could say, to dash so that, or so that this can happen. Maybe to empower people or to help people be the best versions of themselves so that they can make a difference, or so that you can change the world, or so that, So I want you to go ahead and do that. That will help you a lot. It will create
we've lost you. Oh, there you are. We had lost you a bit.
Sorry. So I'm saying that process will help you a lot. When you go through that reflection process, what it will do is it will give you a lot of aha moments. A lot of aha moments. And so you'll realize that your job is just a job. It's a vehicle. Your why is bigger. So even for the lady who's saying that she's only a housewife, that is a powerful thing. Being a housewife is a powerful thing. And sometimes you can base your entire life on a job. Your purpose is the job. It's not. It's that you had a dream to be a doctor, but there's something bigger. I'd rather, why don't you identify why?
Why you wanted to be a doctor?
Yes, why? Because even for me, I wanted to be a doctor actually. I wanted to be a doctor, and I tried to pursue it. I went to the science field. But when I was pursuing it, I realized there was something missing. So for me, I realized why I wanted to be a doctor, even since I was small. That's why I tell you, children know these things. If someone would have asked what I wanted to be, ideally, do you know what I wanted to be? I wanted to change the world. And I used to be shy to say it. I used to be shy to say it because I used to think people will think that I'm a know-it-all. But that was the biggest thing. And I thought being a doctor would be the most noble profession where I would really change the world. I mean, I would be saving people's lives. So you see, the why has always been there. It's just the what was different. And I think that identified the why.
I have one more question and we're out of time, so you have a minute to answer this one. This one is coming in from Dr. Isaac. He's asking, is it possible to pursue a purpose without pleasure in it, in the name of niwito wa Bwana? Mungu ndio aliniita. It says, because I hear a doctor say, I'm the only specialist here. If I pursue something else, who will manage these patients?
Oh, wow. Okay. That one is deep. First of all, let me tell you this. God is the one who created you for your purpose. You will find pleasure and fulfillment in your purpose. God is not mean to create something, to give you a purpose that you will be miserable in. You will find complete pleasure and immense fulfillment in your purpose. And then the other thing is for this doctor, I'm telling you, imagine God will use someone else. Sometimes we think that we are the savior of the world.
Yes.
I think that is something that we have to realize now.
Okay.
And then at the end of the day, God will come to ask you, did you pursue your purpose? It's not about other people. Did you pursue your purpose? If you're so focused on a job, there are other people who are waiting for you on the other side of your purpose. People who are waiting to receive from you. So you can be so focused on your what now and think this is everything. But there's so much more on the other side.
Yes.
So just trust God. Trust God. You'll be very amazed.
Awesome.
Trust God. You'll be amazed when you find it. Yeah.
Great. Wanjogo, thank you so much for this conversation. I believe many people have been enriched. Always a blessing to hang out with you. You have such a wealth of knowledge. We thank the Lord for you.
Amen. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Awesome. Well, I'm out of time for this conversation. And, I was just thinking as Wanjogo was wrapping up, when you're focused on a career, you have to think of retirement. When you know your purpose, there's no retiring, my friend. There's no retiring. There's no, because you continue doing what you're wired to do. Think about that. And talking about retirement, the Wednesday we'll talk about retirement on the Financial Clinic. We'll be having a conversation about preparing.
For this and more of our shows, log on to www.familymediaonline.com to enjoy a wide variety of programs from current affairs to testimonials and features, pastoral and inspirational shows, kids entertainment, and so much more. Also stream live on www.familymedia.tv.